Hey, Taurus, Mel, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your July 2025 love and family reading. If you are interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, welcome. What is going on for you in matters of the heart? Bottom of the deck, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Now, there is a turning point showing up here for you in matters of the heart. This is about removing yourself from an old pattern, an old dynamic, or even an old story that had caused you to stay a bit stuck. I feel like you're separating your energies from that which no longer serves you because you've grown. This is about you moving forward and embracing flow instead of feeling like there's been a bit of resistance. Now, sometimes this can be karma. The Wheel of Fortune can be karma. It can be cycles that we tend to repeat because we're meant to learn, we're meant to evolve. And I have a feeling there's something showing up here that you are cutting out of your world, cutting out of your life. It could even be related to the mind because I am getting sword energy here for you. So starting off, Taurus, the main theme showing up is the runner. You've heard of the runner-chaser dynamic. This can be fear of intimacy, either on your end or maybe someone else. This could be the pattern that is played out for you, Taurus, where there's been fear of intimacy because when you let love in, when you truly get intimate with someone, perhaps there's been loss or there has been trust issues or there's some sort of challenge that has come from being truly vulnerable and intimate. And I feel like this is an energy that you are working with. This can be running away. You may have found that when things start to get deep, that other people bow out. Maybe this is family members. This could be romantic love. You may even struggle with children or parental dynamics that feel like they're not wanting to face some sort of truth is what I'm getting. This can be very intense energy where something comes in with a bang, right? But it may kind of leave just as quickly. But I also see a lot of tumultuous energy that may have shown up for you in the past. Now, I don't see the tower in your reading here, but I am getting tower moments you may have had, I feel, yet in 2025. So even though we are in July here, or this is a reading for July, it feels like 2025 has brought you a lot of aha moments in matters of the heart. And whatever this situation is that has either ran from you or you have ran from it, or it just feels like you've been in this pattern or this dynamic of the runner chaser, and that's what you're separating yourself from. Now, the shadow or the challenge for you is the sword and rose. There's that mind energy here. This is about clarity and truth, revelations, honor, and protecting your own integrity here. And I'm also seeing spells, like spelling words. It feels like I'm actually being shown a book. It's the Hocus Pocus book. If you've ever seen that movie of the spells, that's what book they're showing me. And to me, it signifies like the story of your life. And it feels like there's something sacred here within your story with the words that you are telling yourself, the words that other people have told you. It feels like that has kept you stuck. For some of you, it's kept you stuck in this pattern, but I feel like you are casting some new spells. You're telling yourself a new story here, and this new story is going to bring in a new outcome, but it's going to require you to, honor your integrity, honor your truth, your sacredness, and to stay determined when it comes to your divine path. Because I feel like you are someone, Taurus, who is very determined here. And you can continue to move forward with compassion and with love and with vulnerability instead of letting those defense mechanisms get thrown up And then we tend to kind of push love on the back burner. Now, your advice here from your higher self, this is the dynamic of something playing out here for you, is the separation energy. And I feel like it's you separating yourself from this fear of intimacy or the patterns that keep bringing this again and again. There may be sadness, there may be bitterness. Those are all part of the human emotions, the human experience. So even though there may be some fears of feeling such intense emotions here, but I do see that you're going to feel them nonetheless. And it feels like you may miss someone or they may miss you. You may also be hanging on to old paradigms or old stories because you had certain expectations of how you thought something would play out. And I feel like you could be thinking about that old story here, but it feels like you've grown, you've blossomed. So something painful, hence the cactus here. You see the cactus has a lot of thorns, and it feels like you've been walking through these cactus fields and you've been getting scratched and you've been scarred and you've been wounded. However, there are blossoms. And if you've ever seen a cactus blossom, they are beautiful. They are divine. You have no clue what's going to come out of that cactus until it blossoms. And I feel like this is you. You are the blossom. You are the bloom that is coming out of a prickly situation here. Yes, there may be some uncertainty, Taurus, but I do feel like you are where you are meant to be, and you've gone through situations that have helped you evolve into the highest version of yourself. So let's take a look at what's coming in for those of you that are single and for those of you that are in a relationship dynamic. We'll look at both of those outcomes, but let's start with your current energy in love. You do have the Hierophant here. The Hierophant is all about, excuse me, our traditions, our patterns, marriage. It can be the card of marriage as well, but it can also be belief system. And I feel like what's happening is you are separating yourself from a belief system or a story that had replayed out for you time and time again, or it could be one long story that you have been reading, right? It reminds me of one of those big old Stephen King books that are, 999 pages or more. And it feels like you've been on this journey for quite some time. And for others of you, I feel like you're taking a look at those belief systems and you're asking, are they still true for me? Am I still wanting to commit to this partnership or this family tradition, or am I wanting to break the mold in some way? Am I wanting to break out of those ancestral patterns? Am I wanting to maybe leave a marriage here or a commitment because I have outgrown it or I have learned what I've needed to in this soul contract? So I definitely see that you are taking a look at your life from a higher vantage point here. It feels like you have the wisdom, right? The Hierophant is the wisdom keeper. You've gone through a lot, Taurus. I feel like you are wiser, you are more mature, and you have a lot of experience under your belt. And this is about you being able to take that experience and that wisdom and make some strong, mature choices about what you want to do from here on out. Now, the Hierophant also is the teacher, right? It is the divine teacher. I feel like you are ready to grow into this next chapter of your life. As they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And you have learned, right? It's like you have learned the lesson. You've become that teacher in a sense, but now you're being asked to step into this new vibration. This new vibration that has to do with an updated or upgraded belief system of yours. So that's where you're currently at in matters of the heart. Is this commitment true to me? Do I want to make a commitment to date, to put myself out there again? Because you may be feeling like something needs to give, right? Something needs to shift here with that Wheel of Fortune, because there has been some resistance. And I feel like the resistance is coming from, well, the mind and old outdated beliefs that may have been causing you to feel, the fears, causing you to feel some of these fears showing up in matters of the heart. So let's look at the energy of your heart. What does your heart truly want? Past the ego, past the fears, past the running away energy here, the patterns, the Eight of Pentacles. This is labors of love. What your heart truly wants, Taurus, is you want to be able to put your love into an energy, into a person, into a relationship where you will see not only the fruits of your labor in front of you, because you're going to grow something so profound, so strong, that when you're able to kind of take a step back, that you can look at it from the lens of divinity. I mean, you see here on this Eight of Pentacles that this woman is creating a mural. She has her paintbrush out and she is creating this mural, and that takes time. You've put maybe a lot of time and effort into your self-care, into a relationship, into a dynamic, and what you want is to have that show up for you in return. You want to take a look and say, okay, the fruits of my labor have paid off. Some of you, this is your family. You may be watching your children grow. Maybe your children grow into adults and you may be stepping back now, allowing them to be put out in the world, right? You may be seeing things from perspectives of wisdom now. It reminds me of, my own children. I have, my oldest is heading off to college this fall. And I am being brought back to my own time in my life when I had started to show up in the world in a new way, when I had graduated high school and, spread my wings. And it feels like you are seeing that transformation and that change play out in your own world. A lot of you are being guided to let go, right? Again, let go of the need to feel like you have to have all of the answers, or you have to have this story pinpointed to the exact shape of what it's going to look like. But I actually feel like you have and are growing something profound where you're not quite yet at that point where you're able to step back and look at all of what you've grown, what you've created. But that's what your heart truly wants to do at this time, right? You have acquired much expertise. And some of you, sometimes when we're so close to something, right? When her face is so close to that mural, she's only focused on what she is painting right there. But when she takes that step back, she's able to see the masterpiece of what she has created. And this can even be the good, the bad, the ugly, the parts in your life that maybe didn't turn out, the parts that you may have painted over, or some of it, it feels like that disaster of an artwork, right? Something that may have been very difficult, very challenging, could be the piece in your mural that stands out as the most profound awakening that you've ever gone through. And I see that you want to put your heart into building something that is going to be a masterpiece. And that's what you're doing currently. And it just feels like you haven't stepped back just yet. You haven't been able to see how everything is played out. And that's why the Hierophant is showing up here for you. Because I'm also getting this song, Landslide. Okay, when children get older, there's something about you getting older as well. So something around seeing how life repeats itself, like seeing the story. And that may also be like death and rebirth, letting go, endings and beginnings here. It can be divorce, and it can be, going from divorce to maybe being single, or it can be empty nesting, like your children going off into the world. It can be you starting a new relationship here. It can be making a big move in matters of the heart. Some of you are also being focused, or you're being guided to focus on like family dynamics, maybe taking care of an elderly parent, or going home. I'm getting going home. So some of you, it's coming home to yourself or coming back to a place where maybe you once left, but it feels like you have a new angle or a new perspective. You are not that younger version of yourself, even though some of those fears may be showing up. It feels like you're equipped with experience this go around. And I feel like there's a really beautiful blessing lining up here for you on the other side of this fear, or on the other side of vulnerability here. Now, what are the blocks? 7 of Wands. This is a heavy block because it's boundaries. You know, it is putting up a wall so sky high that we have difficulty letting people in, right? Fear of intimacy, most likely because we've been hurt, we've been rejected, we have been denied. Perhaps there was a story, a love story that didn't turn out the way that we had hoped, and we've gotten our heart ripped out in some way. And the 7 of Wands says that maybe you have started to adapt to some sort of conditioning here. That Arctic fox is blending in. If you look at the illustration here, you can barely see the fox because the circumstances around it feel like they're, you know, very cold, very brutal. And you may have gone through something that was very cold. Like you may have felt cold within your emotional center, and you may have just shut down thinking, okay, I'm just going to go through this because this is what I have to go through at this time. But then it feels like you just kept going through it. Right? You just kept going through it. And instead of coming to the other side of the warmth, right? You just kept walking through it. You began settling. You began telling yourself the story of, well, this is my life, or this is what I have to adapt to, right? I've made my bed. Now I have to lie in it. But I feel like you are wanting to open up. That beautiful heart of yours has already created a masterpiece. And yes, there are going to be some bloops, right? There's going to be challenges. There are going to be struggles, but you're not giving up on your dream. You're not giving up on yourself here. And it feels like there may have been something that you turned your back on. 7 of Wands. Why? Because you felt pressure. You felt like you were in fight or flight. Perhaps there was a closed off energy where maybe there were accusations thrown at you, or you just felt like you started to settle or sink into the background in some way. And I feel like this is what is being removed or separated from your life. Instead of adapting or settling or constantly feeling like you're in fight or flight, it feels like you're separating yourself from that energy in order to fully embody the 8 of Pentacles and fully embody the masterpiece that you've created here. So let's take a look at how is love trying to show up for you. This is huge. 10 of Pentacles as the gift, right? As the opportunity, possibly as a person. A lot of you are already in a union, or you are, again, with this energy here of labors of love. It feels like you are creating this dynamic. Privilege, but it feels like there's been some family structures here, because I am getting this in reverse in my mind's eye. It's family drama. It can be possessions and status that block genuine connections here. And I feel like that is what is breaking through at this time, that drama of some sort, where there may be some ancestral patterns that have played out. You have chosen, you have incarnated into this life with certain people to grow and level up and advance, even if those people may have caused heartache or heartbreak. And I see here that this gift, right, this is how love wants to show up for you, is marriage. Potentially, it's maybe taking a look at a commitment or a union. It could be, again, family dynamics that are long-term. I am looking at like estates, or looking at wills, power of attorney. You may be looking at the times that are changing, just like that song Landslide. You're getting older, children are getting older, you're seeing the cycles of life play out here. You may be looking at your retirement and looking at, where you want to be down the road, but who you need to become to fully embody and step into that energy here. Ten of Pentacles is a beautiful energy here of privilege. And I always say when this shows up, the difference between privilege and entitlement is gratitude. And you may have some family members who feel very entitled. All right. You may have grown up with certain people who may have shut the door, because the Ten of Pentacles, you see that this gate is closed. Some of you are adopted, I'm getting. For others of you, you felt maybe alienated from family, maybe at a young age. You may have been the one that had to step up, take care of other siblings, other family members. But I feel like you have the ability to break out of whatever the old condition was, the old story, old patterns, old maybe even traditions that have played out, right? Ancestral wounds. Some of you, there's going to be an inheritance, a love offer that has come from maybe something bittersweet. Now, it could be a divorce, okay? It could be that there's been a loss of a loved one, a family member, and you may be grieving in some way and you're going through those motions. But I do see, because love is trying to show up as the Ten of Pentacles, for those of you that may be single, which we're going to look at here in just a moment, I feel like there is an opportunity that is growing for you, where you certainly could be addressing some deeper seated issues in the physical. And that is going to bring you towards the dream that you have for yourself, the dream that you have for family, the dream that you have for, what love fully means for you. Now, for those of you that are coupled, excuse me, I feel that you're either in this high level commitment already with the Hierophant here, but it feels like you're addressing some of the issues here and maybe separating yourself, boundaries. It could be that there's external family members that are contributing here to some sort of separation between you and a spouse or you and a family member. So let's take a look here at singles. All right. What you need to know for those of you that are wanting to attract love, what is needing to come out here? You have the Queen of Wands. This is a beautiful energy because it's magnetism. For those of you that are single, I feel like you have the spotlight, all right? You have the spotlight on you. Be spontaneous when it comes to how you meet love. There could be love that shows up in unexpected places here for you. You could even be birthing, right? She has that pregnant belly. You're birthing this new cycle into existence here with the Wheel of Fortune. And it feels like a lot of you may be also wanting to start a family if you're single. And there may be like a choice that you make to maybe have a child or start a family without a partner. Okay, that's for a small percentage of you, but I'm also getting like grandchildren. It could even be that you may have been a single parent here, or you may have like a grandchild coming in, or maybe there's been family issues around, again, a child. But I'm also getting here someone with fiery, flaming red hair, someone who's very courageous, someone who has worked through some of their own insecurities here. I feel like this is you trying to release the energy of control or controlling how something is supposed to look. Because again, you are blossoming out of this cactus energy, out of those thorns, out of that prickly energy that you were in. It feels like now you are thriving. Now you are growing. And a lot of you are highly magnetic, highly creative, and you could meet someone through something creative, such as, it could be a vendor market. I'm getting like Chalk Fest. Now, some of you could even be attending an event where people are creating art, making art, singing, dancing. It feels like this is a community type of energy here. So for those of you that are single, be spontaneous. If there's an invitation that shows up out of the blue, you might want to say yes, because you could meet someone in an unusual place, or it could be, again, while you are out and about, loving life, enjoying creation, enjoying the farmer's market, or it could even be It could be at an event where I feel like there's food, maybe like food trucks as well. So it could even be while you go up and order, maybe a corn dog. I'm getting like fair energy as well. So like a fair or an event where there may be rides or vendors booths or food trucks. It just feels like that is a very good energy of coming together, where people are coming together in some way. You may connect or maybe go out on a date with someone towards an event of that nature, but be spontaneous, because spontaneity could bring you in love. And it does look like there's something fun coming up ahead here. There's big change coming in. And I see that there's a pattern that you are meant to break out of. So don't let any old or past insecurities hold you back from opening yourself to love, right? Remember that 7 of Wands. It's okay to let your guard down. And for those of you that really struggle with vulnerability, I'll just share with you, very early on in my adult life and most of my teenagehood as well, I had struggled letting my emotions show, because I had thought of my emotions as a weakness, right? Some of those more challenging emotions that we feel and go through. I kind of had a hard exterior because I had gone through a lot of betrayal, a lot of disappointment. And so I kind of wore it almost like a badge of honor. But what it did is it didn't allow me to fully embody that energy of love. Like it couldn't come in, it couldn't go out. And I put it up. It was my self-defense mechanism. And I realized as I matured, as I aged, as I grew and had gone through different experiences, that vulnerability and emotions are part of our human experience. It is one of our greatest strengths. And for those of you who have had that hard exterior, you may be asked to soften into the energies here of love. Open yourself up here to love. Now, it's not that you are being naive, right? You're not your 18-year-old self here anymore. You have gone through experiences that have taught you a lot about life. And I feel like a lot of you are glowing up. It feels like you're getting a lot of attention, those of you singles out there. And it could even be like through some sort of exercise as well. I am getting like exercise or like sporting event or a competitive event here. It just feels like you are out in a community scene showing up here. If you're looking for love, that's where you want to be. All right. For those of you that are coupled, what wants to be healed or nourished? Some sort of release from the past. All right, spiritual rebirth with the Judgment card here. This is a second chance at love. So it could be a second chance in an existing relationship where perhaps those feelings were big and you didn't know what to do with them, right? Or you may have gone through some sort of betrayal and it was causing a hindrance in you fully opening up to someone here. And I see that others of you, maybe a large portion of you, may have already separated your energy physically, emotionally, or even mentally from an individual here. And you may be wanting to either get that back. All right, you may have a choice to make here, like, okay, we are going to give this one last go around. We're going to really liberate ourselves from the past energy and accept who we are today. Accept that we've been doing this thing called life together for quite some time, or we have rode that roller coaster. And I see that there is a judgment call being made for those of you that are coupled or in a partnership here. Now, this could be to fly high, together and say, okay, we're doing this. Or it could be, divorce, liberating yourself in some way. I'm also getting for a small percentage, again, I mentioned the inheritance, but you could be going through a bereavement. There may have been a loss of a loved one. And I'm sending you so much love, Taurus, because I see that this individual meant a lot to you, whomever this was, and you may be missing them. There may be a lot of sadness, a lot of bitterness. Maybe you are widowed, or this could be like a family member or a friend. And I feel like they are rising above some sort of challenge or pain that they were in. So I feel like they are no longer suffering. It feels like there has been some sort of suffering here that someone has gone through. And I see that maybe you are going through those motions here where you feel a little bit cold, right? With that Seven of Wands, you feel a little bit numb. But I do see here that there's going to be a shift coming up here for you with that wheel. All right. And you're going to liberate yourself. Is that feeling ever going to go away? That pain? The pain will soften, right? It's never going to fully go away. But I do see here you're going to hang on to that scar, but you will blossom and grow just like the cactus here. All right, just like that cactus, because I feel like you have a lot of love to give. You have a lot more life to experience here in some way. And for those of you that are partnered, you may also be going through a transition with a parent or like a family member. And this could be strengthening a relationship, or it could be, coming together in a way where you are reevaluating your own life. You're saying, okay, this is a situation that I'm no longer, I no longer feel connected to. How can I bridge the gap? And it just feels to me like you are letting go. You're letting go of something that you were unable to maybe let go of at one point or another. And I feel like there's redemption here. There's self-awareness. This is part of your purpose. It's part of your evolution. So you have a judgment call to make for those of you that are in a partnership when it comes to family, okay? When it comes to maybe relocating, moving. I'm also getting like moving a family member into a home. Some of you have a family, like a parent who's in a group home. And I'm also getting you being able to not feel like you have to carry all of those burdens on your own. Spirit wants you to know that with the Ten of Pentacles. Some sort of burdens here you don't have to do by yourself. All right, so what's the outcome or energy to lean into? You have the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands here is a decision point. It feels like you've been asking the universe here. You've been praying, right? Wishing upon a star. It feels like there's direction coming in here that is leading you towards, your true north. This is about focusing here, Taurus, focusing on your future. But I also see here that you are being guided to step outside of a comfort zone. That's that Queen of Wands energy as well. Stepping outside of a comfort zone, not doubting your path or not, allowing stagnancy to stink up your energy, right? Stagnancy or even complacency. Sometimes we sit in that stagnancy. And if you've ever, come across a puddle of water or a pool of water that's stagnant, right? There's no fresh water moving through it. It becomes stinky and smelly and starts growing the green. And, it's not a good watering hole. It's not a good drinking hole to keep, keep that vital life force. We got to keep moving. We got to keep flowing here. And that's why the change is coming in, ushering out that stagnancy here. So whatever it is, or whomever, whatever patterns, whatever old wounds, old fears that are trying to kind of break out of your world in some way, allow it, because we cling to old dynamics because that's what we know. We cling to that Seven of Wands because that's what we've adapted ourselves to, right? We'll just keep pushing through. We'll keep going here because that's what I've been doing for so long. But I feel like Spirit is saying, wait a second, there's another way. There's another story. You have another experience that you are meant to live out at this time. So I do feel like you are being called to separate from the old version of you who you may be clinging to because there's a freedom there. It feels more liberating in some way coming in for you. So allow yourself to feel the life of privilege instead of feeling like you are stuck. Okay, some of you have felt stuck for quite some time and your outcome is saying, okay, no more. I'm no longer going to sit on this branch waiting for life to happen. I am going to grab the bull by the horns, hence you, Taurus. I feel like you are taking life by the horns here and you're going to make a judgment call that will change and alter your destiny. But it's part of your destiny. So at the same time, it may shift and alter your current circumstance, but I feel like what it truly does is aligns with your highest timeline here. All right, let's get a message from the wisdom of the oracle. What do we have here, please, for Taurus? Wow, that one came out right away. You have why. Yeah, right now you may be asking yourself, like, why did that happen to me? Or, why is this turning out the way that it did? Or what do I do? You're trying to figure things out at this time. But remember, you have the Hierophant here showing up. And when that Hierophant shows up, I feel like, you're asking some of the deeper questions in life. Some of you are going through a deep soul searching time, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears here. And I do feel like there are answers, there are clarity, or is clarity coming, because you are about to blossom. That's what your higher self wants you to know. You will blossom from all of those thorns. And I feel like, and look there's actually a storybook with wings. Okay, so it's kind of like that Hocus Pocus spell book. But I feel like you are about to like take off. It feels like, some of you literally, maybe you're traveling, and the wings are right here on the liberation card as well. So I would say within the next 4 to 6 weeks, there will be a judgment call that is made that helps you feel more focused, more organized, more in control of your life. So ask some of the questions here. It's also number 31. Now, 31, it reminds me of like the last day of the month. So some of you, you're wrapping it up, you're finalizing, you're completing, you are getting ready here to turn the page. There's a new story or a new chapter coming in for you. So try not to sit in the what ifs. Try not to sit in a comparison trap or to sit in that stagnancy of the Two of Wands, because you're moving forward here. You are ready to take that leap. You're ready to explore what else is out there here. And this is your inner compass. There's something here about you taking that next step. And that's what's happening here in matters of the heart. All right, let's get a message from the crystal spirits. At this time, Taurus, if you can safely do so, please close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in from your solar plexus chakra, your belly area. Hold it for as long as you can. And release through the mouth with a nice deep sigh. And with your eyes still closed, tune into your third eye chakra, the area between your eyebrows and your forehead region. And I want you, Taurus, to imagine the first crystal or gemstone that shows up in your mind's eye. Now, this could be a crystal that you are familiar with, maybe even know the name of. Perhaps your crystal is showing up as a specific shape, size, or color. Your crystal could be giving off a frequency of healing, confidence, unconditional love, or even ancestral wisdom. And if you need a moment, just pause the video and come back when you are ready. And for those of you that would like to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, all you need to do is drop your crystals or a crystal, whether you have 1 or 5, drop them below in the comment section below. If you know the name, wonderful. If not, just let me know what your color was. What was the shape? What was the size? What was the feeling that was showing up in your mind's eye? All right, Taurus, your crystal for the month here is rhodonite. Rhodonite is a powerful crystal. You see its beautiful pinks, which align with that heart chakra. This is about harmony in relationships. It is about you being able to easily connect with others, generosity, reciprocity, and discovering hidden talents to share with others. All of us have gifts to share and a deep longing to be needed. So open up to a partnership that allows both of you to give and receive. Now is a time for you to reach out and take what is freely offered and to recognize the continual flow of reciprocity between you and the people you love. So we have the flow here of the Wheel of Fortune, right? And we talked about that, going with the flow of something instead of feeling like there's constant resistance. If you are feeling too enmeshed with someone, okay, we're going to go back to that Eight of Pentacles. Sometimes we can be so enmeshed that we don't fully step back and look at the big picture. Spend a little time connecting with Rhodonite spirit to reestablish healthy yet fluid boundaries. That's that Seven of Wands. Boundaries that allow a balance between you and the people that you care about. When you are generous yet aware of your worth, giving with a healthy sense of self, you attract those who respond in kind. Rhodonite assists us in identifying our hidden talents. It asks us to embrace them and ascertain how we may use them in our heart-based service. This stone reminds us that we each were given a specific gift and we received it in order to share it with the world. So for those of you that are in that Queen of Wands energy, male or female, right? But it's that magnetism here. Working with Rhodonite can really help you tap in to your own hidden talents, to break through any insecurities. That could be what you're separating yourself from as well, because a lot of you are wanting to connect to others. You want that sense of togetherness, right? That may be a dream that you've had for some time. Now, lastly here, let's get a message from your soul's truth. What is your soul truth? Want you to know, okay, you have 3 or 4 messages now around boundaries. So some of you are creating or strengthening boundaries here. You could be setting them up for yourself. You have what boundaries need to be created or strengthened within your relationships. To create more healthy boundaries, we must first get in tune with our own needs, desires, and feelings and believe, there's that Hierophant, and believe we are worthy of them. Because sometimes that Queen of Wands, right, she doesn't always feel like she is worthy, especially when she's in her shadow period, when she's gone through situations that have thrown her off her throne. Right? It says in your relationships, it's essential to know where they end and where you begin. When we separate our energy from others, we gain clarity about what we really want. Then we stop doing things that no longer align with ourselves. If you are an empath, you can still be compassionate towards others without taking on their stuff. It is safe to trust that you are not here to fix anyone. That could be what you're separating yourself from. Excuse me. Perhaps you are taking on other people's stuff, which actually could be more harmful for them and you because they are not then learning the lessons, right? Then they're able to kind of run from their own issues or problems when we tend to take on their stuff. And I've been guilty of that myself as a healer, as wanting to help fix problems, and something that I have started to do and incorporate into my life, especially when it comes to my adult children or children who are becoming adults, right on that threshold, is I ask them, do you want me to give advice? If they come to me with something, do you want my advice or do you want me to listen? So it's so important to create the boundaries here and really show up in a way that empowers the entire situation instead of feeling like we immediately have to jump in and fix a problem for someone that can kind of bypass their own learning in some way. So some of you are being asked to strengthen boundaries in your life instead of just jumping in to fix it or, feeling like you have to take that role on. And many of you may have felt like that in the past. So today's mantra, this is something you can write down, something that you can say or maybe pause the video and repeat. I have everything I need within me now, and so do they. And I set boundaries based on what is best for me, right? What is best for me? And that's not selfish. Sometimes we've set boundaries based on what is best for everybody else. And that's not even a boundary, right? Because it can create the walls that we talked about. The Seven of Wands, it can be the walls come up, and it's not even a fence with a gate, so we can't even let people in and out, but it can become that wall that's just impenetrable. And I feel like you are becoming more vulnerable, but by doing so, it's because you have strengthened and created your own boundaries here that are going to be beneficial to everyone, because it will kind of command respect in a way. This is my dance space. This is your dance space. And I see that that is something you are using in the near future, and it's actually going to come together in a way that feels better. It feels more empowered is the word I keep getting here. So Taurus, that is what I have for you, beautiful souls. If you enjoyed the reading, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and do comment below your crystals. Thank you again for tuning in today. Lots of love.